everyone! Today's video is sponsored by Skylum, and I am super excited that today is the launch day of Aperty. So if you've pre-ordered, if you're thinking of getting it, today is the first day you can finally use the app that I've been working on with Skylum. I'm super excited. So since I've been using Aperty for the whole year that we've been working on making it, I want to share with you today my photo editing workflow. So this is what I do to edit my portrait sessions from beginning to end to deliver to my client. I'm going to take you through step by step what I do. So in case you didn't watch my previous video, Skylum asked for me to co-create Aperty with them, and my role in this is basically to share the wants and needs of a working portrait photographer, to share what kind of tools we need to be able to edit our photos. So the aim of Aperty is to be able to edit your portrait photo shoots with automatic retouching tools while still maintaining high quality results. So our skin retouching slider removes all the blemishes but still keeps everyone's natural skin texture, which is so important in editing. It also, of course, makes retouching more accessible to people because you don't need to spend so many years perfecting your manual retouching. And it's also going to let you retouch images that you otherwise maybe wouldn't have, such as wedding photography, for example. So let's get into it. So this is the photo we're going to be editing, and I'm right here in Aperty already. The first thing you're going to see when you open Aperty are your projects. So every time I have a new photo shoot, I like to make a new project. I personally like to have all my photo shoots separated into different folders because once I'm finished editing and I deliver it to my client, I don't need those photos anymore. If you're the kind of photographer that prefers to have one session for a lot of different photos, you can do that as well. So what I like to do is I create a new project and I mimic the name of my foldering system. So what I do when I'm downloading photos is I create a new folder and name it with the date backwards. Then I have what type of photo shoot it was, a wedding, a couple shoot, a fashion shoot, and finally the name of my client. Inside that folder, I've got a few different folders. So first is my deselects. That's where the bulk of my photo shoot goes. Then I have a second folder called selects, and that's where my culled images go. Then I have a folder for exports as well. So we're going to be editing this photo shoot that I did with Bella, and in here I've imported just my selected culled images. So we did this photo shoot at the beach and we had the most beautiful golden hour ever. So I decided to shoot this on my 50mm f1.4 and I was on my Sony a7 IV camera body. I was getting these backlit shots right here because the 50mm just melts the background away so nicely, and it has a really nice lens flare with the sun as well. So that's what I was achieving here. I really like the 50 because you can get such a good variety of compositions with it. So I managed to get some full body shots in this location. We got some of these cinematic landscape mid-length shots as well. And it's also super easy to get these beautiful headshots on a 52. So this is a photo that we'll be editing today. And I'm going to show you my step-by-step process on editing this golden hour photo. The first step is to edit the tones. So I'm going to balance out this image. I want it to pop a little bit more. Since it's backlit, it's a little bit flat. So I'm going to start by increasing my exposure a little bit and then increasing my shadows too, just to bring some light into the image. So that's caused the image to look very low contrast. So then I'm going to bring down my black slider to add contrast back into the photo. And then going to increase my shadows a little bit more and my exposure as well. So here's a before and after of my tonal edits. I want this to pop a little bit more, so I'm also going to use the tonal curve to edit the tones a little. So I'm going to start by pressing on this point our shadows and just bringing it up slightly. And then I'm going to pull down on this point to bring back some contrast. And as you can see, that's kind of matted the blacks a little bit to give it a bit of a film look, which I really like. Then I'm going to select here in the midtones and pull that curve up to add light back into the photo. Once I have my main points down, I then like to just make tiny little adjustments until I'm happy with what the image looks like. So I think that's good. I also find it's really helpful to constantly look at the before and after of your edits as well. So if you click here, you see an overall before and after, but you can also look at a before and after of just your tone curve. And that's a good way to see if you've edited too much or if you haven't edited enough. So I'm happy with the tones. The next thing I'm going to focus on is the color. So this image, I really want to accentuate that beautiful golden hour we had. So I'm going to start by increasing our temperature slider. That's going to warm up our photo. There's also quite a lot of green too, because it was quite a shrubby looking location. So I'm going to increase our tints to bring a little more pink into the photo. Next up, we're going to go into our curves again. And this time I'm going to start in the blue channel. I love using the blue channel. This is going to sound counterintuitive, to add warmth into my photo. So what I'm going to do is select here in the blacks of the blue channel and drag down, and that's going to take away blue from the photo and thus make it look warmer. Because I don't want her skin tone to be too yellow, I'm then going to press up here in the tone curve and pull it up. And this is going to add blue and make her skin tone look more neutral in the photo. And just like our tone curve, once I've made those points, I'm just going to click and drag and tweak them until I'm happy with what it looks like. Next, we're going to head into our green channel, and here, just in the shadows, I'm going to drag down to add that magenta color and again, accentuate that golden hour and make it look super warm. Next, I'm going to head down into our color panel. So here I want to increase the vibrance a little bit, and I want to decrease the saturation, just a touch. And then we're going to go into our HSL panel. So with HSL, hue controls what the color looks like. Saturation controls like how vibrant the color is. So if you pull it that way, it's very vibrant. If you pull it that way, it desaturates this channel specifically. And luminance controls how bright or how dark a color appears in the photo. So there's quite a few things that we can do here. So I'm going to start with our hue controls. So with our orange slider, I'm going to move it a little bit to the left to make her skin tone a little bit more pink. And I'm also going to move the reds to the left a little bit too. And for our yellow slider, I'm also going to move that to the left because I want to make our background a lot warmer. Not this much, this is just to show you what it does. But yeah, I'm going to get rid of some of that green by moving this hue slider. The next thing I'm going to do is head into saturation. Here I'm going to desaturate orange. So this is so our skin tones don't look too orange, too saturated in the photo, and the same as red. And I'm also going to increase our yellow saturation because I want our background to be super prominent. And finally, I'm going to head into luminance. So here I like to bring the orange slider to the right just to brighten people's faces in a photo. You can also do that with red a little bit too. So this just like adds a bit more light back into the face. You can also decrease the yellow and green slider to make the background darker and make your subject pop too. But for this photo in particular, I think I'm going to leave it as is. So here is a before and an after. So with just those sliders, we've made a huge difference in what the photo looks like already. The next step is to retouch our photo. And instead of having to move into a different software or having to grab my retouching tablet out, we can do that right here in Aperty, which is very convenient. So just here in this tab, we've got our retouching tools. Bella does actually have really good skin, so you're not going to see much change with the blemish removal slider with her in particular. So I'm going to head into a different project. So here I have a portrait of Sandy, and I'm just going to zoom into 100% so we can see all the details. Just like anyone, she's got a couple of blemishes here on her forehead, and I would normally retouch these out manually, which is a very time-consuming process. So instead, what we're going to do is use our blemish removal slider instead. So I'm going to increase that, and it's going to remove these blemishes here, but as you can see, it's still retaining all this beautiful natural skin texture, and she looks like a real person rather than someone with super smooth skin. So that was really, really important to us while we were developing this app and this tool. So here's a before and here's an after. If you do prefer like that smoother looking skin, we do also have a skin smoothing slider as well. So you can increase that to add that layer of smoothing to the skin instead. And you can also bring the detail slider down too, to accentuate that smoothing even more. So that kind of removes more of that texture from someone's skin. Back to our photo of Bella, I'm also going to increase our dark circles removal slider just to brighten up her under eye area. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of skin here with some blotches because it was a little bit cold while we were doing this photo shoot. So I'm going to head down into body skin and increase our body skin smoothing slider. I'm also going to increase the color correction slider too, which is specifically going to unify the color of the body skin. We have that slider for the face as well. And then the last thing that I want to edit with this photo are the eyes, because she has very beautiful eyes. I just want to make them pop a little bit more in the photo. So I'm going to increase the iris flare, which is going to add like a faux reflector reflection in the iris. I really like using this. So just there, and it just makes it pop in a very natural looking way. Okay, so here we have our final before and after. So this is with all our tonal edits, color edits, and retouching. The next thing you can do is then copy all your edits and paste them across your entire photo shoot. So I'm going to hit paste to all these images that were taken in the same spot. So now you can see that we've had the edits applied to the rest of the photo shoot. And what I like about this is that tools like the blemish removal, where usually with skin retouching, when you do it manually, you can't just copy and paste those edits, but with this slider, you can. So it doesn't matter if a person's facing you in one picture and facing away in another picture, still going to find those blemishes individually and remove them. So here's a before and after. And then we also have this image as well, just to show you the synced edits. Actually, since you can see more of the shirt in this photo, there is a little trick you can do if you work a lot with white clothing like this. So if you go into HSL and head to saturation, if you bring your blue saturation slider down, it's going to make that shirt appear more white. And you can also, in luminance, bring your slider up just to brighten it a little bit too. So you can see what a big difference that makes. So that is all I have for today's video. I really hope you found that helpful and you can apply some of these to your own workflow. If you want to try out Aperty for yourself, please use the link in my description to check it out to help speed up your retouching and your editing. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I'll see you all next time. Bye.